Like, comment, and subscribe for more content. What is cooking? Good looking. Welcome back to the channel. So, the Game Awards is a couple days away. That's right, we're at the end of all things. We're approaching the end of the year rapidly. And it was a good year, all things considered. There was a lot of good games, right? Black Myth Wukong, I absolutely love that game. Okay? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I love that game too. Incredible stuff. However, my personal game of the year isn't even a contender in the category. My game of the year, we're looking at it, it's Dragon's Dogma 2, right? Dragon's Dogma 2 is my personal game of the year. Man, I think about this game on the regular, right? And it's been forever since this game came out. Capcom hasn't even put out any DLC. That's a big, a big thing that people are angry about. But I still think about this game, So before the Game Awards, I just wanted to, to go off to talk about my personal game of the year. But before we get into that, do me a favor, guys. Leave a like, subscribe. I would appreciate that. If you guys like Capcom stuff, help your boy out. We're almost at 1,500 subs. I'd like to hit that before the end of the year. That'd be nice. But you know what? It's a marathon, not a sprint. So I'll take what I can get. But Dragon's Dogma 2 is a very curious case, right? It's a really curious game because it's really good, right? It's incredible. Some people thought that it was just a tech demo for Monster Hunter Wilds. And having played both of those games, I can confirm that that is not the case. They're two completely different games, right? But Dragon's Dogma 2, they do test out a lot of open world stuff, right? So I can see why people say that. But Dragon's Dogma 2 is really interesting because there's 3 camps of people when it comes to this game, right? Which is why the reactions and the consensus for this game are kind of all over the place, right? There's people like me who played this game and they absolutely loved it, right? A lot of people, they were jumping up on Twitter and they're like, hey, this is one of the best games I've ever played ever, right? I agree. I love this game so much, right? The second camp are people that played this game on launch on PC. And let me just say, I am so sorry, guys. All you people that played this game on PC, dude, how are you guys still sane? Listen, the performance issues and the bugs and the crashing, man, that was some crazy stuff right there. Me personally, I played it on the PS5, so I was good, but whew, man, I get it, okay? I get it. And then last but not least, the final camp when it comes to Dragon's Dogma 2 are original OG Dragon's Dogma fans that don't like Dragon's Dogma 2 because of how they handle Dragon's Dogma 1, right? What does that mean? So Dragon's Dogma 2 is basically a retelling of the first game, right? And you wouldn't get that, at first glance, right? And that's one of the things I actually really love about this game, right? That, Dragon's Dogma 1, it was not perfect, right? A lot of people, they did like it, but it was kind of like a niche game, It was like a solid 7 out of 10, but the people that liked Dragon's Dogma, they really liked Dragon's Dogma, So Dragon's Dogma 2 is kind of like a remake in a weird way, right? Where Capcom, they decided, hey, we're going to take another shake at this, right? And that's where Dragon's Dogma 2 is, right? You're probably like, hey, if that's the case, if it's a remake or a retelling of the first game, why is it called Dragon's Dogma 2, right? I will get to that, okay? I promise. Towards the end, we're going to circle back around. But first, let me just talk about Dragon's Dogma 2. Just, the world, right? I really like the world of this game. They don't make games like this anymore, right? There's something kind of FromSofty about it, right? And I'm not just saying that because, it's kind of weird and kind of obtuse. You can't really fast travel in this game, right? You have to get around by walking, right? However, there's an actual, time of day cycle, right? So you could be walking to your next location and the sun could go down. And then that's where all the monsters come out. And they come out and they fuck you up, right? So they force you to, you have to have a campsite, right? You have to find a campsite and set up a camp, right? But if your camp isn't, you know, well fortified or elite enough, monsters can run in and break down your camp and, you know, mess you up in the middle of the night. Right? It's horrifying. I hate it. But also, while you're at your camp, you can cook up all the meat and stuff that you've gathered, right? You can bond with your pawns. The pawns are my favorite part of this game. These are my pawns right here, right? Yeah, this is my boy Benjamin. He's a master thief.
Ready to tackle today's adventures, Arisen? I'm full of vim myself.
What are you doing?
I love me some Benjamin. That's my guy. This is Barbara. She's a big buff barbarian lady. Kind of an a-hole.
Master, I've naught more to say. Pressing me further shan't change that.
Right? And then this is Guinevere, my main pawn. Right? And the cool thing about pawns, your main pawn in particular, is that you can send them out into the world, right? And other players can stumble upon your pawn. They can stumble upon your pawn. It's fun to say. And they can have them join their party, and then at the end of a quest, they can give your pawn items, right?
'Twas a chimera I was tasked with battling. A ferocious and terrible beast. I'm in no hurry to face one again.
So if you look here at my main pawn, Guinevere, I just maxed out her extra thick. She has a giant dump truck. That way, when she walks past you in game, you can't ignore her. You want her on your team, right? She's great. Give her all your items so she can bring them back and give them to me. Pretty cool, right? What was I talking about before that? Oh yeah, the camps. So you can set up camps, hang out with your, your merry band of idiots, right? And, when morning comes and you can, walk to your location. But also, if you don't want to deal with that, you can pay the ox cart, and the ox cart will tow you, to and fro where you need to go. But it costs money, right? Hey, Benjamin, play me a song for ox carting. Yeah, thank you. There we go.
Maiden, thou drivest like shit. Didst thou see that bard that thou almost hit? I'd rather take the ox cart instead. Riding with thee I shall end up dead. Ask me not if I need a lift. Maiden, thou drivest like shit.
And then the genius of all this is that towards the end of the game, you start getting like fairy stones that let you fast travel, right? And it feels like this big moment, like you earned this, right? Like, oh, dude, I can go wherever I want now, And like, not a lot of games don't do stuff like that anymore. Speaking of end of the game, I mentioned this earlier, you were like, hey, why is it called Dragon's Dogma 2 if it's a retelling of the first game? Okay, here we go. So the story of Dragon's Dogma is that there's this dragon, right? And that he picks an Arisen, right? That's your character. That's me, the main character. The Arisen is the hero, right? And the Arisen is destined to fight the dragon for all of eternity, right? And it's basically this endless cycle that never stops. However, when you unlock the true ending and you break the cycle, now we're in the end game, right? We're not in the cycle anymore, right? And then when you finish the the true ending, which I'm not going to spoil for you guys, but at the end of the true ending, now that the cycle is broken, a new title card drops and it says Dragon's Dogma 2, right? Oh my god, dude. That is so sick. That's so sick. We're not retelling the first game anymore. We're in the second game. Oh my god, dude. I love that so much. That's so cool, man. Jesus. Anyway, guys. Do me a favor, if you guys have not picked up Dragon's Dogma 2, please hear me out. Give it a try. Okay? I don't know if Capcom's ever going to update this game or add, any DLC to it, because the creator of Dragon's Dogma, he actually left the company, which is a shame, right? Because we've been waiting for Dragon's Dogma 2 forever. He dropped it and then left, right? And then apparently, the reason why Dragon's Dogma 2, it feels so obtuse, is because of his doing, right? Which, like I said earlier, I kind of like that. It kind of, it gives it this, like, FromSofty vibe to it. Not a lot of games do stuff like that, where, there's things in the game, like, the Sphinx, where you have to answer the Sphinx's riddles, things that you would never consider, right? Like, some of these riddles are crazy, right? Completely off topic, but Black Myth Wukong, very similar game in that sense, right? Where, like, a lot of the game, there's a lot of hidden things that you just wouldn't notice, you know? You have to be in a specific brain space. And I love that. I think that's super interesting. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to gush about Dragon's Dogma 2 before the Game Awards because it was my personal game of the year and it wasn't even nominated, which I think is a crime. It's a shame, you know? But guys, that's the video. Do me a favor, leave a comment. What do you guys think about Dragon's Dogma 2? What is your personal game of the year as well? I am curious. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!
Whoa, 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 look out! My damsel driveth. Watch out! My damsel driveth like shit. Whoa, 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 look out! My damsel driveth. Watch out! My damsel driveth like